It is Thursday, Yud Beis Elul Tov Shin Ayin Vav. We are on Teres Menachem Sefer Amarim Tov Shin Yud Gimel in the Maimer of Basi Lgani Tov Shin Yud Gimel, and we are up to page Pei Aleph at chapter 4. The Rebbe here is explaining that the only way it is possible for a Yid to transgress Hashem's will is if a spirit of folly, a ruach shtus, enters into him, because the natural state of a Yid is such that he cannot transgress Hashem's will. As the Zohar says, Nefesh kisech vatava, that the statement in the Torah, when the Torah discusses the various korbanos, sacrificial offerings a person needs to bring for unwittingly committing a transgression, the phrase is used, nefesh kisechta, a soul that will sin, and the Zohar actually says that this, a deeper way of reading this is nefesh kisechta question mark. A soul will sin because the natural state of a Yid is such that because of his nefesh elokis, his godly soul, he cannot transgress Hashem's will. And the reason why the Rebbe over here discusses, one of the reasons the Rebbe discusses at length this idea of ruach shtus, is to explain to us, for us to understand what our natural state is. The natural state is such that we are connected to Hashem. And the Rebbe explained that when a person behaves in this manner, when a Yid behaves in this manner against Hashem's will, he is even lower than Umis that believe in shituf, that believe in partnership, because they are not instructed to, that is not a prohibition for them, and therefore if they believe in shituf and partnership, as explained in the previous year, that Hashem has a partner, so to speak, that Hashem has partners in the sense that Hashem has given some control to other beings, where they can make a decision whether or not and how much of their hashpah, of their bestowal they should provide to the world of mankind. For Umas Ha'olam, that's not a prohibition, according to the opinions that the Rebbe quotes over here. Whereas a Yid who transgresses Hashem's will, irrespective of what that transgression is, whether it is something fundamental from the Torah, a biblical instruction, or even a diktu kal shel libri sofrim, a small statute or a small institution of the sages, that is a transgression of Hashem's will, and in that sense, in the sense that it's a transgression of Hashem's will, he is worse. It is worse than a member of Umas Ha'olam who believes in shituf, because that for them that would not be considered a transgression of Hashem's will. And here the Rebbe went into a whole discussion why indeed, that's what we're in the middle of, the Rebbe's in the middle of explaining, why indeed shituf for Umas Ha'olam, partnership for Umas Ha'olam, is not considered Avodah Zarah, is not considered idolatry, and therefore not a transgression of Hashem's will. Whereas for Yidden, for Bnei Yisrael, it is considered a transgression of Hashem's will. It is considered idolatry. It's either idolatry or it's not. Why the difference? So the Rebbe began to explain the difference between a Malach Alman and a Sevach Alman. The godly energy that fuses with world in an internal manner, as opposed to a Sevach Alman that transcends worlds and is present in all worlds equally. And the Rebbe explained that so far as Memalek Alman is concerned, so far as the internal divine energy is concerned, world and creation has some meaning. In other words, from the perspective of Memalek Alman is a divine energy that clothes itself and is tailored according to the specific characteristics of each and every creation. Whereas Sevach Alman, the transcendent divine energy, relates to all worlds equally. The difference being, therefore, that so far as Memalek Alman is concerned, creation and created beings is meaningful. It's not, to use the terminology that I've used, is that world and creation is not bottled b'metzias, is not totally submissive, because the divine energy pays attention to the specific characteristics of each particular creation. So far as Malach Olam is concerned, the created beings are meaningful in that sense. Whereas so far as Seif Olam is concerned, because of the fact that it is present in all of creation and all of worlds equally, that denotes that the particular aspects of creation, and therefore creation itself, is totally bottled mitzvah, is totally submissive. What's the point, therefore? Chapter 4, page Pei Aleph, Bal Pize Yuvan, based on this it'll be understood, Mashadavki Yisrael, Huzaru Alashituv, V'lei B'nei Noach. Why it is specifically the Bnei Yisrael that were given the prohibition against partnership, and not the sons of Noah. For the souls of Yidden are rooted in the very essence of Hashem, and lower than that in the divine light that transcends worlds. And being that so far as this level is concerned, so far as the level of Seif Olam is concerned, the transcendent divine energy, there is no room for anything but godliness. The only thing that exists is godliness. In other words, ein oid, there is no other existence. Lochein ma'aminim, therefore, Yidden B'nai Yisrael believe, she'ein oid, that there is no other, what no other? Not that there is no other God, that there is no other existence besides Hashem. The meaning of ein oid means that there is nothing else. It means that not only is there no God besides Him, besides Hashem, but rather it means also that there is no existence besides Hashem. And certainly, from this perspective, there certainly doesn't exist anything that has any control or rulership besides Hashem. Whereas shituf is something that denotes that the perspective of shituf is that there is something other than Hashem that has control. In other words, an additional to Hashem that has control. So therefore, since from the perspective of Seif Olam, it is such that nothing exists besides Hashem, and certainly nothing has any control or rulership besides Hashem. Why is that? This is all because their souls, the souls of Yidden, are rooted in such a level that there is no room for any other existence. Therefore, a Yid has been instructed and it has been prohibited to believe in Shituf, because the soul of a Yid, the Nefesh Elikis, is rooted in such a level where from that perspective nothing else exists besides Hashem. This is not the case as far as Umas Eilam are concerned, that they are not associated to Eira Seviv. Why? Because they are rooted in the exterior aspect of Hashem's will. As is known, as is known that the souls of Yidden are rooted in the internal aspect of Hashem's will. And Umas Eilam are rooted where? In the external aspect of Hashem's will. What's the difference between external and internal? Rotzen, will, desire. For example, a person engages in commerce, in a business or in a trade or in a profession. So what's the tachlis? What's the intention here? The intention here is not the actual profession or the commerce or the business. The purpose, the ultimate purpose, is the result of that. So of course he wants to engage in that activity. So he wants to engage in the activity, he wants the result of that activity, right? But you can't compare his desire in the result to his desire in the means, as it were. That's the difference between Pnimiyas Ratzon and Chetzonius Ratzon. His Pnimiyas Ratzon, his ultimate desire is what? The result, to earn a living. In that process, there is also a need, obviously, for the means. So he wants that too. but only for the purpose of what? Of achieving the end result. So this is the difference between Neshamas Yisrael and the Neshamas of the Messiah. The K'meish Lamata, just down here below, but Adam in the human being. Pnimius Ratzon, hu ba'dovra shu ba'atzmi hu atachlis. Pnimius Ratzon, the internal desire, the internal, the tachlis, the purpose of the desire is. Ba'dovra shu ba'atzmi hu atachlis, the internal desire, the main desire, the real desire is in that which it itself is the purpose, not that which leads you to the purpose. But not so in concerning something which is only secondary to something, to a purpose. The internal aspect of the ratzon, of the desire, is not there. What's present there? In what way does one want that? Exteriorly. The K'meiken Yuvan L'mayla Sotu, it'll be understood above. The Neshamas Yisrael Shema Tachlis, that the Neshamas of Yidden, which is the ultimate purpose. Why? Because as we know, Breish is Bara Lekim. As a Shemayim V'Sa Oretz. Chazal say Breish stands for Beis Reishis. There are two purposes for which Hashem created the world: Bishvil Yisrael or Bishvil HaTorah. Right? What's the purpose of Hashem's will? What's the purpose of creation? This Ava Kadosh Baruch Hu Liis Leis Baruch Dira B'Tachteinim. Hashem desired to have a dwelling place for himself down here in this lowest realm. How? Through Yidden fulfilling, through the fulfillment of Torah mitzvahs. And who does that? Yidden. So the Pnimi Seratzin is where the Tachlis is what? Torah mitzvahs through Neshamas Yisrael. So that therefore, in there is present what? The Pnimi Seratzin. The internal aspect of Hashem as well. The Neshamas Yisrael Shema Tachlis Shasham and Pnimi Seratzin. The Umas Ha'elam and Umas Ha'elam Sharsham, they're rooted where? Mechitzei Seratzin. Their root is in the from the exterior aspect of Ratzin, of Hashem's will. This is generally.
You could argue something different. You could say that it's not the internal will, it's the external will. And the internal will is something we don't know, which of course we don't know. There's something else that's happening. And really the
like what?
Doing mitzvahs in as well, the idea of doing is the external. That's what is being achieved in the chitzonis, they're happening in the physical world. But the pneumius of what's happening, the rest of what's the aims to get on it, we don't actually know.
That is that what you're saying is we don't understand why Hashem wants this purpose, but that's
the pneumius of his will.
But that the fact that Dira B'Tachteinim is Hashem's ultimate purpose, that's what Chazal say in this Ava Kadosh Baruch Hu.
You can't say that is what. That is what his external will. That's the physical world. Why is it his pneumius?
Because that's what he wants. That's what he actually wants.
Why does he want it?
That's something else.
No,
that's something else.
That's the pneumius.
What the Rebbe is saying is like this. When we talk about Pnimius Ratzon, we're talking about something which is the ultimate goal. What is the ultimate goal? In dry terms, there's two things. What is the ultimate goal, and why is that his ultimate goal?
Yeah.
So his ultimate goal is Dira B'Tachteinim. Why, we don't know. But the fact that it's Dira B'Tachteinim, that's not a question. The fact that
someone goes out and makes a livelihood is no question. His pneumius is.
But for what purpose? But why?
The money. So
but what's his ultimate?
We don't know about the Eibishter.
But what's his ultimate goal?
We don't know.
The person
working. He wants to make a livelihood.
That's it.
Why? Because he wants to turn mitzvahs. He wants to have
that's not relevant. For the purpose of this discussion, why he wants to earn a living is not relevant. What ultimately does he want to achieve?
Pneumius, isn't it? Of his wanting to. Why is he going?
You're confusing.
If he had all the money and the power and everything like that, he wouldn't necessarily want to go to work.
That's exactly the point. So therefore, work is only a means. That's why it's chitzonius.
Maybe this world is a certain means. Chitzonius is a means.
We know that that's not the case because Chazal say, Beis Breishis, Beis Reishis. This is the purpose. Chazal say, Nis Avakadosh Baruch Hu. I think what you're confusing is the difference between Ratzon and Kavanah. Hashem's ultimate will is Dira B'Tachteinim. The Kavanah, the reason, his intention in this, that's unknown. As the Rebbe Rashab says in Samach Vav, Afatay Veskin Kasha Disht. We don't know. Ultimately, we don't know why Hashem desired this goal. But what goal he desired, that we do know. That's the point he makes. And therefore, the conclusion of this will be that being that Neshamas Yisrael are rooted in the very essence of Hashem and the Sefer Kol Almin, Therefore, from that perspective, is ein oid. There's no other existence. Therefore, a yid is prohibited to believe in shituf. He has to believe in ein oid. There's only one God. Whereas umas ha'olam, who are rooted in the chitzenis of which is memalik alamin, that gives room for other existence. Therefore, shituf, from their perspective, is not a prohibition. That's the point that Rebbe makes. We'll continue with this tomorrow.